Hello students, welcome to online biology class. Today we are going to cover day 11 of chapter 2. Every day you will be attending the online class and you will be doing the homework for that day. Make sure that you have your textbook and notebook all the times while you are attending the online class. For any queries, you will be having an interaction session, a synchronized session where you can clarify your doubts and you can interact. Children, in the last class, you are being given an home assignment to write about the differences between respiration and combustion. I hope you have done with that. And children, in today's class, let us try to understand how this respiratory system is different from one organism to another organism. Let us see how this evolution of gases exchange system has took place from one organism to another organism. So, different organisms, they have different types of respiratory systems. The respiratory system is different. That means the type of respiratory system, it depends upon few of the factors like the habitat where the organism lives, right? Depending upon the place where the organism lives, and second thing, based on its body size, whether it is a unicellular, whether it is a multicellular, what is the organ level of organization or development. So that is about body size and availability of water, the quantity of water. So like few organisms which are aquatic, large amount of water is being available. Few other organisms like terrestrial organism, water is being normal. Like this, availability of water even differs the type of respiration. Then type of circulatory system, what type of circulatory system it has got. So we have seen that in the 5 events of respiration, third event is transportation of gases by blood. So if transport system is being different, if lower organism, if they doesn't have any blood or if they don't have hemoglobin, then definitely the respiratory system is going to be different. So type of respiratory system, it differs from one organism to another organism, from one phyla to another phyla. So this is based on the habitat, the place where the organism lives, the body size of the organism, the availability of water, and type of circulatory system what it is having. So for example, when you see the unicellular organisms like amoeba, so they are present in the water bodies, they are single cell, their body is being devoured from the external surface by plasma membrane. So because of pressure gradients, the air from outside it can enter inside, and the air which is being present, or the gas carbon dioxide which is being produced inside, it can be diffused out. So that means the gases exchange takes place by simple diffusion process, right? They need not to have a highly sophisticated organ system. The same way, some other organism or some other phylum where the organism doesn't have sophisticated or complicated organ system are Nidaria. So the best example is Hydra. So cellular level of organization is being present. So it has got water vascular system, otherwise, so from gastrovascular cavity is being seen. So the water is going to nourish each and every cell. So that means the gases what they are being present directly, they are diffusing from the water into the cells and from the cells into the water directly. And in the other phylum, the next evolved phylum is Platyhelminthes. The best example is Planaria. So most of them, they are parasites. They live in the body of the organisms. So directly they get the diffused things from the host. So therefore, they are undergo because of the simple diffusion process. And in case of Hematohelminthes, that is round ones like ascaris what are being present, right? In that also it undergoes with the simple diffusion process. Why? Because they are also parasite, internal parasite. So they also simple diffusion process. And when you go to the free living organisms like annelida, the best example of these annelids are earthworms. So they undergo the diffusion process because of cutaneous. That means what? Skin is being involved as the respiratory organ. For example, let me consider this as the earthworm, and so this the skin of the earthworm is being supplied with the blood vessels, and completely the skin of the earthworm is being moist. Now, so the gas oxygen is going to be dissolved in this mucus, and from there it is going to enter into the blood vessels. The same way the carbon dioxide is going to be diffused out through the skin. So the diffusion is being, or exchange of gases is being carried by skin, and the type of respiration is called as cutaneous respiration as skin is being involved. Here, apart from earthworm, you can even look after frog, even undergoes with cutaneous respiration to an extent, not completely, to an extent. Right? So you can look after frog skin is always mucus and always slippery, moist. So in order to prevent the from drying of the skin, you can look after frogs often they jump into the water to keep its skin moist, so that the gases can be diffused to the skin. So then, if you see some highly evolved organisms compared to annelids are arthropods. In the best example of arthropod is cockroach. In case of cockroach, if the blood doesn't have the hemoglobin. Already we have studied hemoglobin is the red blood pigment which helps in the transportation of gases. Right? So now here hemoglobin is being absent in case of cockroach. So blood doesn't play any role in transportation of gases. Right? So we have seen type of circulatory system. It is also a factor which makes its respiratory organs different. So blood cannot transport any of the gases. So in case of these cockroaches, some tube-like structures called as trachea are going to play an important role as a respiratory organ. So therefore we call such type of respiratory system as tracheal respiration. What do we call it as? Tracheal respiration. We can look after, so this is the cockroach. The cockroach has got 10 pairs, that means 10 towards one side and 10 towards another side of the body wall, right? 10 pairs of openings or 10 ports of openings which are called as spiracles. What are those called as? Spiracles. Now, so same way, you can look at how our diaphragm helps in the change of body volume. Same way, when the body volume is going to be changed, the gases are going to be entering into the spiracles, and these spiracles leads into an open chamber. Now the gas enters into the chamber. This chamber leads into a tube-like structure which is called as trachea. Now all the trachea of one side, they join to form longitudinal tracheal trunk. We call it as longitudinal tracheal trunk. This longitudinal tracheal trunk, they branch out to form tracheoles, right? And these tracheoles are equivalent to bronchioles, right? So these tracheoles, they end in the muscle. So like this, the gases, they move from spiracle to atrium, trachea, longitudinal tracheal trunk, tracheoles, then finally the muscle. The same way, during exhalation, the gas is being given out. So like this, because of tracheal respiration, cockroaches and grasshoppers and all other insects, they undergo the respiration. Why? Because the blood doesn't have red blood pigment which is called as hemoglobin. The blood is almost white in color, right? It is colorless, we can say. Then later on, when you see about fishes, right? So they are completely marine living organisms, right? So they obtain the oxygen which is being in dissolved state. They obtain the oxygen which is in dissolved state in water, right? Now to obtain this dissolved oxygen, they have got a specialized respiratory organs which are called as gills. And the type of respiration because of gills is called as brachial respiration. Cutaneous respiration is by skin. Then in case of tracheal respiration, the respiratory organs are called as trachea. In case of brachial respiration, the respiratory organs are called as gills. So fishes, they respire through gills. You can look after. So in case of your aquarium, I hope you have seen fishes always they open and they close their mouth. When they open their mouth, what happens? Water is being taken in. When they are going to close, water is being pushed to the sides like this. Water is being pushed to the sides. Towards the sides, there are the respiratory organs which are called as gills. You can look after, these are called as gill pouches and these are called as gill lamellae. Now, you can look after the pore-like opening what is being present. This pore-like opening is being prevented from collapsing because of this gill lamellae. Each gill pouch is having an artery and also a vein. Now from the veins the carbon dioxide is being given out and from the arteries the oxygen which is being dissolved in the water is being taken inside. Now like this the carbon dioxide in the form of bicarbonate is being given out and the oxygen is being taken inside the fish. So this is how brachial respiration is going to take place. And in highly developed organism like humans, you know, the respiration is because of lungs. Lungs are the respiratory organs and the type of respiration is called as pulmonary respiration. So therefore, if the skin is a respiratory organ, we call cutaneous respiration. If trachea is a respiratory organ, we call tracheal respiration. If gills are the respiratory organs, we call them as brachial respiration. If lungs are the respiratory organ, we call them as pulmonary respiration. So, like this, so based on the habitat, body size, availability of water, type of circulatory system, different organisms, they have got different types of respiratory system. This is all about evolution of gases exchange system in different organisms. Right? So, thank you children. Have a nice day.